Excellent.
Cool. Okay. So welcome, Brad, to my presentation.
Thank you very much.
It's a PowerPoint presentation about student success. All right.
There we go.
Here we go. Oh my goodness. Okay. Success formula. Delimiting teachers' responsibilities. It's an idea I had about our feelings sometimes, and I devised like in a exercise, active exercise, and let's get started. It's about 6 steps, and then after that we have some conclusions and maybe some other the information about it. So the idea is to identify the students' success factors and describe the teachers' responsibilities in student success or failure. Of course, they are mirror of each other, right?
Exactly.
And,
yeah.
Obviously, and understand what the research suggests about these success factors. And I also extend to some hypotheses regarding the application of my exercise. The formula itself can be extended to many other applications. Right? That's the idea.
Sure.
All right. So, well, as I said, I don't know about you, but teachers sometimes we take responsibilities for our students' failure.
Sure.
And that can cause anxiety, fatigue, and unjustified stress. So
Yes.
I was thinking that having a good understanding of the real causes, I can put the reals in parentheses here, the real causes of student success could reduce teachers' anxiety.
Right. Yeah. So if you understand that more, yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is the success formula in 6 steps. I describe it as an active learning activity, guiding one reflection on the causes of students' success. And the exercise is inspired by linear programming. Okay, so it's like this one. The task actually is to devise a mathematical formula explaining student success in this form. S for success, of course, equals to W V1 plus W V2, etc. Until W Vn, and where, of course, S equals success, N is the number totals of variables that you believe influence student success.
Okay.
V1, V2 are these variables, and weights are noted W, and they represent actually the importance of each variable in explaining student success, right? So, and obviously, the total of W's must equal to 1. Actually, they are percentages, okay, or fraction, okay? So, for example, this one is success if you believe that a student's success depends on his study hours, right? And his IQ. So you will have 0.6 times study hours plus 0.4 students' IQ will be your success formula, right? So the weights are actually percentages that obviously a total must equal to no more than 1, right?
Yes.
So I invite you to devise your own formula. But before that, maybe I should also ask to use abbreviation. For example, maybe you believe that the student's success depends on course design. In here, I give it CD as a abbreviation. because for the formula, it's better to use abbreviation. Family status, family social status, and study hours, for example, like the example before. So if you want, if you agree, Brad, I will leave you any minutes to determine your variables. And,
Okay.
and then after that, you do the next step, the weight, okay? So
Okay.
going back to that one. So when you're ready, you tell me. So just make a list of what you think are variables explaining student success. So when you're ready,
Okay. Okay. Sure. All right. So I'll brainstorm a few.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Well, without getting out any books, I only added 2.
Okay.
So one would be
You mean
motivation.
added to my own?
Added to the ones you originally started
Okay, it's
with.
not necessary. You could start from scratch, but it's
Okay, sure. So well, those were good ones that I think are very important. So
okay, so you will keep those one, this one.
Yeah, and then I have motivation.
Okay.
Motivation.
Okay, I will write that down.
Quality of instruction.
Okay, so let's say I'm just adding some more. All right. As you said. Okay, so we have motivation.
Motivation, yeah.
Okay, and
quality of instruction.
Quality of instruction. I will. Okay. All right. Plural, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
or in just singular instruction.
M and Q. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like this.
Okay.
So we have this formula.
And then it has to equal 1.
Yeah. So the total will equal 1, right? So
yeah.
I'm going to extend this one, and well, we can use another like this, but yeah, well, in this case, I will let you choose your own factor. Okay, weight. I mean, so I will create another column here and call weight. Okay, so which weight you will give to these?
Yeah, my math is terrible here, so I'm gonna. Okay.
And remember, the total should equal to 1.
Yeah.
So it's a percentage, actually, right? You can tell me in percentages, for example. 60%, 20%, whatever.
25%. All right, let me just check. I got this here. Okay. And let's say CD. Put that at the same. So we're at 15 plus 30. I'll change those up to that and that. then family. So I've got motivation and study hours. I have the same percentage, so I put those 30%.
Okay.
And then
Okay, sorry,
I
go on a second. Okay, motivation 30%,
and study hours.
and study hours. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're motivated, you know why you're doing things, you'll be more likely to put in the work. And then I had them the same. So quality of instruction and course design at 0.15.
0.5?
0.15.
One? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so 15%.
Yes, okay. For quality of instruction and course
and
design?
Course design.
Okay.
So, you know, if the material and the teaching is motivating and engaging, then that's helpful. Family social status, I had it at 10%, 0.1. You know, it is a factor for sure. However, if people are motivated, they can get around the challenges there, but certainly it is a factor. So yeah,
really good.
That's very interesting.
Very good, Brad, because you got 1. Okay, total is equal 1.
Yeah,
which is good. Okay.
Yeah, my math is awful. So yeah.
Well, at least you can count up to 1. Okay, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know. So I did this before, and many times people don't get it right.
Yeah. I've had to help my son with his fractions, so you know.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. Excellent. So here we go. We have a success formula, right? And the next step, well, okay, we'll spare the time for, you know, we'll spare the burden to write the equation, but you know, you can see, for example, 0.15 CD plus 0.10 FS, it will give you your formula, right? So I'm going to skip that step, okay? So we are pretty well done with that these steps. Normally, what I will do is, because now we have only you are on board, but if we will have many teams or many people, we will write the formula here and compare
the different formulas. Yeah, I can envision that. That would be interesting.
So we could have a discussion about, okay, different perspectives from different teams.
Yeah. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So the next step, then I will ask you to sort your success factors in 3 categories.
Right.
And write there, maybe, okay, to make it short today, we can skip the calculation here. But I would like you to go back. We go back here.
Yeah.
You will identify, I will make another column and asking you to, okay, we can maybe delete this one and identify the category of these factors. So there are 3 categories. Actually, I go here again to show you. Either it's under control of the students, under the teacher's control, or others. Okay, so 3 categories. You can remember.
Sure.
That.
Yeah.
So go back here and create another column.
Yeah.
We can write. Okay, so that will be okay. Who is in charge? In other words, control. Who controls?
Yeah.
To make it short, so I will write T for teachers, S for students, and O for others. So who's in charge?
Course design, that would be T, teacher.
T, teachers, yes.
Social status, that would be other.
Other, yeah.
Study hours, that would be S for student.
S, yes, student.
And motivation, S for student.
Yes,
and quality of instruction would be T for teacher.
Yeah, T for teacher. All right. So according to your formula, I
Mhm.
don't know if you have noticed, but you have more factors that is not under the teacher's control
Mhm.
than the teacher's control. And according to your weighting, actually, the teachers control 30% of the student
Mhm.
success, and other factors on the not the student the teacher's control is 60%, 70%, according
That's
to
right.
your own. Yeah, have you
And
realized that
that
before?
would align with my kind of beliefs or feelings about these things as well.
Is it aligned with your belief? I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
You say
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. All right.
Mm.
So that's it. The main exercise is finished. We have done
Hmm.
the exercise. So now I would just want maybe to build on it. And step number 5 will be analysis and discussion. So, of course, it's something we cannot do because, again, we have not enough
Sure.
people.
I can imagine though.
Familiarity between teams,
Yeah,
consensus on the most important factors,
right.
and then, of course, realizing who is in charge, who is in control, the
Yeah,
teacher's control percentage. This we can do. We have just discovered in your perception assessment, the teacher's control 30%, and everything else is 70%, right? So
yes,
we can
exactly.
also discuss about the limitation of this analysis, but I will skip it because, of course, it's something that is suggested but not necessarily mandatory.
Sure.
Obviously, okay. Um, the next step, maybe just give you an idea of what other said before, because I've done this
Mm.
exercise many times over.
Yeah,
And as you can see here, there are many factors that are suggested or bring forward by people. Family story, prerequisite, learning skills, emotional stability, just to name a
sure.
few. You have mentioned your self-motivation.
Mm.
Course design was already suggested. School facilities,
Mm.
the
Interesting. Yeah.
children, self-confidence, personality threats. So it has many factors actually that are mentioned
Yeah.
by people in my previous seminars.
Yes.
Okay.
I like learning skills. I mean, that's so
Learning
important as
skills
well.
also, yes, is something
Yeah. Yeah.
important.
Very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The next step in my presentation is taking a few minutes to look at what research suggests about student success and failures. So I'm just going to summarize very quickly 2 reports. One is called the EARNS report because, well, the guys, the authors earn names, family names, and it actually was reporting on success factors. It was analyzing success factors. When
Right.
another story by Benford and Guest Newsom's, 2 authors here, are reporting on failure factors. Okay, so these 2 research, one again by James Earn,
Mm-hmm.
was about actually students' success factors. And his report, try to summarize it here very quickly, is that student success has roots in students' lives far earlier than the post-secondary years,
Sure. Yeah.
of course. But his research is focusing on the teachers' direct organizational influences on post-secondary success. What does it mean is that it doesn't look at the inner factor in terms of, for example, students' skills or IQs or emotional stability that we have mentioned. It's
Sure.
focusing more on the teacher's behavior and the organizational setting.
Mm.
Also, it's focusing on government and the institution's role in student success. And
Sure.
his main conclusions are very, I mean, there are many variables. He identified many variables involved. First of all, as we mentioned, the student's roots or previous life, if you want, families, peers, teachers, former teachers, I mean, high school teachers, or even primary school teachers, counselors,
Sure.
cultural factors, previous school curricula and extracurricula are mentioned in these studies. And he's also making a distinction between on-campus factors and obviously these ones are off-campus.
Off-campus, right. Interesting. Yeah.
And in specific campus factors, he's mentioning high expectations as one of the major factors, high expectations from the teachers. Coherence in the curriculum, opportunities for active learning, assessment and frequent feedback.
Sure.
And collaborative learning opportunities.
Sure, yeah.
And also some other stuff, respects on diversity, for example, emphasis, the first year experience seems very important for the success, long-term success.
I can imagine that, yeah.
And connecting with learning opportunities that's outside the classroom.
Right, sure.
Are important factors, on-campus factors, according to him. But again, it doesn't address the issues of internal skills and so on.
Sure.
Yeah. The other studies I would like to mention for having a better understanding of this is it's a study by Benford and Guest Newsom. Actually, her name is Julie Jess Newsom. I'm not sure how pronouncing this. Actually, in their study, they say that the failure factors are mainly inadequate recruitment standards, student academic under-preparedness, lack of students and faculty, ethnic and cultural diversity and interaction, ineffective and inequitable instructional techniques. So, well, that's really broad in terms of, what it means really. But obviously, reading this study, someone interested, I strongly recommend to read this report.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, that's a summary of those two researchers. Okay. So actually, I think the conclusion is that there are many factors involved, and some of these are within the teacher's control and some other are not.
Yeah.
So what we could do is to having a discussion about this. So what do you think about this exercise and this summary of research, Brad? Do you have any input?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, my background until last year, I have 24 years in English language teaching to adults, and I was a teacher trainer in the end as well. And we talked a lot about factors that help make teachers successful or help make students successful and that kind of thing. It's really interesting to try to quantify that.
Yeah.
And then it helps guide your principles a little bit. Where are you putting the most weight?
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting exercise to do. And I would imagine, again, if you were in more of a workshop, you were doing a presentation at a conference or something, and you had 10 people or something like that, it would be really interesting to see everybody's different opinions.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I've done it before, and just want to add to what you just said. I did before this, and there's so many varied opinions about what are these factors are.
Sure, yeah, and especially coming from different backgrounds and different teaching contexts, you would see different emphasis.
Yes.
So I thought that was really interesting actually. And then at the end, if I'm honest, I had a job interview a few months ago that I didn't get, and it was to be a academic chair at a private university here in Vancouver. It certainly was a shift for me. When I was just looking at your summary at the end there, I sort of maybe focused more on the aspects of failure, and mine were very linguistic. So, how prepared were students to enter university? How prepared were they to take on the task? And what could we do about that?
Yeah.
But, some of the other things you were talking about earlier, is there an appropriate study atmosphere for them? Is there anything we could provide them that would help them be effective? I didn't talk about that so much. So, yeah, I kind of wish I'd done this with you before I had that interview.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
anyway, there's always other opportunities. I'm sure you will get.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's interesting because you really covered, I think, all the factors that do influence a student's success, and it's not just curriculum or what you have to do. There's other external factors. How's the study situation and how are they being supported? So yeah, very interesting. It would be I'm sure you said you've done it before. It would be a great workshop for sure.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
So the last aspect of this presentation I would like to invite you is to think about other application. I was thinking about the other applications from this setup,
Yeah.
the linear programming using an equations like this for other educational purposes. And then I was thinking, can you just try to see if there are some other applications you can see for yourself in this using this formula or similar same formula in other either in school or somewhere else?
Well, yeah, I think it would be, you could just do it for personal growth, but I forget the slide. I apologize, and I forget the exact point, but this is certainly applicable to coaching. If you're dealing with a whole team, and as kids get older, and really again help you focus what are your priorities and what do you want to achieve.
You will have to think about whatever you want to achieve with that, but I think I think my method is applicable in many other efforts to understand the causes of things, and it's actually a trigger it just if it's not just very scientific, actually it's helped to start the discussion at least about.
Yeah, exactly. It gets you thinking about what's most important thing for myself, and
reflect on their thinking and so on. So I have another example. Actually, I was trying to answer this question myself and see where can I apply it, and obviously there are many other things. So I came up with another example I want to show you. This one here. For example, how fast electric cars will deploy. So that's would be an example, right? So actually, you have variables or factors, and then you have to weight them and see which one is most important, and then so on, right? So
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So in this example, a very different field of I'm not an engineer, but I would say based on just my information I know about electric cars, I would say that battery autonomy in the future, like any improvement in battery autonomy, will help electric cars to get a bigger market share, right? So that's so better battery autonomy. I would also say that having more recharge stations,
definitely.
If you have more recharge stations, people will be inclined to buy electric cars. Of course, manufacturing capacity will need to be increased, and the psychological factor, the consumer acceptance of this new technology, especially in Canadian winters. So there are some resistance to adopting electric cars. So I was thinking that these four factors will be maybe explaining most of the market share of electric cars in the future. So I gave 40% for battery autonomy, which is 2 times more than the other ones individually.
Yes.
Individually. And I would say, well, even though this is very hypothetical and just like a guess on my part, I would say probably that recharge stations, manufacturing capacity, and consumer acceptance will be about the same.
Sure.
Same weight, same importance.
Yeah.
So of course that's just like an idea among many others. So
Yeah.
that's will give you this equation here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another example. Yeah.
And it's also interesting because again, it just helps you look at your priority. I have an electric bike, and I would kind of agree. The battery is the most important thing I've learned. Mine is a really cool bike. I got it in Seattle. It was very reasonably priced compared to my Canadian options, but my battery has about 30K max. So that's pretty short. So it takes away some of the practicability of it. So that's very, very important. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So this brings me to another thing that I forgot because when I did that, but maybe we can refine this. A better variable will be the price per kilowatt hour. Of the battery, right? Like for example. So it factor in the price factor and the cost factor, because here there's no cost in prices. So so that's a limitation of that one here.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So maybe another version I should change that. Okay, great input, Brad. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I think in conclusion of that, this exercise was about trying to reflect on the causes of students' success and failure and who has control on them. And the model actually represent team's opinion that are not tested. They are just personal experience, based on personal experience, obviously. So that's the limitation of this thing. And research suggests that there are many factors where teachers play an important role, but not only. There are many important external factors as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Yeah.
And that's all for now.
Yeah. Great.
For listening.
Yes.
I have this Creative Commons license here.
Yeah.
Maybe too big.
Yeah, I found that a little weird. I mean, he made it sound so simple in the video. It was like the last thing I did. And I was like, okay, I don't want it to look like that at all. But yeah.
Okay.
It's all progress.
That was great. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so that's we are done. I think
we're done.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for doing it with me. That's where we're done.
I really enjoy it. Very different presentation, by the way. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice meeting
you. Nice meeting you too. Enjoy a beautiful snowy day.
Okay. Merry Christmas over there.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you too. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.